Welcome to Second to None, a show from the fans for the fans, covering SEC sports each week, the news, the excitement, the joys that we all share each week. Thanks for joining in. I'm Michael Spencer, the host of Second to None, and today it's going to be another great show. Great fun. We're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to just get started with this. Yesterday, there was a lot of football that went on. Everybody was hoping Georgia got upset. Georgia held on to win. It's just, it's one of them crazy weekends. Alabama plays Arkansas. LSU makes a win, but did LSU win? Is that going to cost Auburn's head coach their job? I mean, his job. It's just so much stuff in the air right now that we're waiting to see how it pans out this week. But overall, it was a great weekend. Great old Tennessee had a bye, and what better way to have a bye and move up in the polls? Yeah, that's cheating, but they'll take it. You know what I mean? Tennessee got number 8, didn't even play this weekend on the backs of Kentucky. That was a rough that was a rough loss for Kentucky. If you're a Kentucky fan, but you got to hold on to the ball. So hey, we're gonna just jump right into this. Yesterday, it's one Chris. He's seen a lot of. He's seen some illegal stuff yesterday, and it actually cost one of Georgia's players a year-ending injury. So, Chris, what you got for us on the chop block?
So, I've been watching football for the better part of 40 years, and in my time of watching football, I don't find anything more dirty than going directly at somebody's knee. And there was so much of that went on yesterday. Every game that I tuned into, there was a chop block called. And I think it needs to come to the attention of people that if you're a coach and you're teaching your guys to go directly at people's knees, there should be no reason you should be coaching. That's dirty. It's always been dirty. It's always going to be dirty. And when you cost people season-ending injuries, like what happened with Mr. Carter from Georgia, it's uncalled for. You should have to sit out the same amount of time if you're doing that stuff. That's my rant for today. And since I'm done with my rant, Second to None has some breaking news that our partner Dustin Gregg has been working on all week, and Mr. Spencer has agreed to do some things, and I'm going to kind of duck out for a little bit and let Dustin and Michael take the lead here and share what this breaking news is for Second to None.
Hey, I appreciate that, Chris. You know what? That's something that I can't take credit for, and I have to, with all due respect, I'm going to have to let Dustin speak on it because Dustin's been out there working it, and he made that happen this week. So, and I'm actually glad you was able to pop in for a few minutes because I was kind of hoping you was going to be the one that was going to talk about it just because you've been out here working for it all week. So, Dustin, tell us what's going on with Second to None and what's happening.
So first off, if you can't really hear me that good, I'm in the middle of Pigeon Forge. So if I break up, I'm really, really sorry. Okay. So right now I'm in the middle of a parking lot. I don't even know where I'm at. But no, so Second to None. So we have partnered with Southern Boy Sports. And they are a really good group of guys. We're kind of going under one network, so it's really, really exciting stuff. They have a lot of contacts with a lot of people in the sports world. So they're going to relay some of those contacts to us so we can also have some of the guests as well to try to make our brand grow as well as their brand. So, check them out. We was on their podcast last week, Southern Boy Sport. We're really, really excited to kind of go into this partnership with them for sure.
Absolutely. They hosted us. I think it was Monday, as Mike was asking while we were sitting here talking. And yeah, man, they're just some good guys who really enjoy talking football. They really know their stuff, so it was really good to just be on their show. We really appreciate it, and we definitely want them to be a guest on our show as well too. They're always welcome. So I think that's part of what we're trying to do. We always look for a way to to expand who we are, what we're trying to do, and we're trying to reach as much as we can. So if we get a chance to partner with someone with the same mindset of wanting to get out, talk about football, college football, those guys they actually got a lot of stuff going on. So definitely go check them out on Twitter and all that. So yeah, so appreciate that, Dustin. Thank you so much for all that and actually put that together. I know you've been working hard on that all week. So so I appreciate it.
Like, I really thought that it would, possibly be, and they reached out to us as well, and we're like, hey, why don't we try to go into this network type thing, just try to build one another up. So, I was like, let me shoot this at Michael, maybe let me see what his idea is as well. And once we kind of finalized all this, we was like, man, this is going to be great for both brands to really kind of grow and to progress kind of in the sports world of what we're wanting to do at this next step, this next level. So we're really excited to be a part of one another, and I look forward to the partnership with them for sure.
Absolutely, I really appreciate that too as well. So man, we had some football games yesterday, and it was pretty exciting. Florida's actually playing right now. I'm trying to see if I can get that score. I was on the computer trying to see if I can find out who's winning. So actually, Florida, it's over. It's 50. Florida won 52-17. They took care of business. Looks like it was the best game of the year for them. They put up some points today against those guys. So maybe they're gonna start playing on Sunday every day.
Yeah. So yesterday, I'm sorry, but Ole Miss, they look like a bunch of Coors Light cans on top of their heads. Arkansas, I'm really, really sorry that Bama got the best of you. I was really, really rooting for you guys in that ball game. LSU, I was really, really hoping that they were going to lose.
Yeah.
You guys like this? My background, no LSU.
Yeah.
So it's LSU 8 week. So everybody here in Knoxville and East Tennessee is kind of hating on the bunch of drunken Cajuns down there. Look at that ugly crimson that he just posted. Oh golly, that's ugly. But
you can always guarantee West is going to make that grand entrance for sure. Yeah. So, man, it was some good. But I mean, we can't talk about bacon bits.
What are you eating? Bacon bits?
It's good for you. So, but it looked like we had a couple of injuries.
I can't hear any of you guys, so.
Okay. Can you hear us now?
Can you hear me?
Wes, can you hear us?
There we go.
Okay. So we had some injuries yesterday. Notably, Bryce Young is probably the biggest injury that we had for the day. What's the update? Have you got an update on Bryce?
He has an injured shoulder joint.
Okay.
It's not, Coach Saban said it's not serious. He never took his helmet off on the sideline. He actually was like never immobilized or anything like that.
Good.
So
That's good.
Depending on the toughness of the game next week, Bryce may come in a little bit. I don't know that we necessarily need Bryce after watching A&M play.
Okay.
But I think he'll be all right. I think he'll be good for the rest of the season. It doesn't seem like he separated it, didn't tear his rotator cuff. No significant structural damage.
That's great. Great news.
It is. I remember you saying a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about quarterbacks, and if anyone went out, who would suffer the most. And of course, it was hard for us not to talk about Bryce Young going down. Heisman Trophy winner, still back at Alabama. If he goes down, and it looked like yesterday he went out, but Young, I think that's his name, right? Young. He came in and he continued to play ball for him. And as a ball club like Alabama, I think that speaks to the recruitment that our star quarterback goes down and we don't even get worried. We just go back out. We keep playing ball, next man up. So I think that says a lot. Also, I know the Georgia guy Carter. He got rolled on purposely, looked like, according to Chris, and it looks like he's out for the year with a MCL tear.
No, that wasn't intentional. If you watch the replay when they slow mo, like it actually looked like the John Mechie injury, like his MCL gave out before the guy rolled on him. If you watch, go back and watch it.
Okay, I
and
will.
the announcers even talked about it too. It was a non-contact injury. That stress his MCL gave before that guy got on it.
Oh wow, okay.
See, what I saw was immediately when the ball was snapped, the entire defensive line shifted to the left, and he dove directly at dude's knee. There's no place for that in college football.
Yeah, but if you watch, like, yeah, they were talking about that too, but his knee gave on its own. It was non-contact.
So, and to the Bryce Young injury, I fully anticipate Coach Saban probably hold him out next week to make sure he's fully healthy for the next game in line, which is Tennessee, which is going to be an absolutely huge game. I think Milroe is going to do a fine job against Texas A&M, but I wanted to ask Mike about KJ Jefferson, because he got kind of banged up and he went out for a play, and then he came in
Back.
and finished the drive, and then after that, Cade Horton came in and finished the game. Is there anything going on with KJ that injury-wise, or was that just by design to let him finish the game?
I think that was just a chance to put this other guy in to get some game time reps. One question that has surrounded us right now is Malik Hornsby. And because he was, from our understanding, he was promised some snaps at quarterback throughout the year, not just at wide receiver. And I would rather have Malik Hornsby at backup, but that's just me. I'm not Sam Pittman, or am I Browse. So I don't think there's anything. I have not seen anything indicating that KJ Jefferson is injured. What I know is the guy just came in to get some reps.
That's certainly good news on KJ if there's no injury updates.
Yeah, if it is, it's being kept like half his body. So, they're tight-lipped about it.
Well, do you think that they're happy that he only went for 13 out of 24 yesterday? Would that have anything to do with it, or was the game just out of reach per se, and they just said, let's get the guys some reps?
I think they're wanting to get some reps. There were some passes in the first half that the receivers did not catch that I thought were catchable. That third quarter was pretty amazing, and I think if the receivers had played like they did in that quarter in the first half, then his stats would be a little bit better. But it is what it is, and I don't think they were unhappy with KJ. I just think the game was out of reach. Why risk getting your player hurt when there's no need to? And let's get this guy some reps.
Yeah, that's something that I wanted to touch on too. Like KJ, like, and that's what you're saying. In the first half, his receivers didn't help him out a lot. They dropped a lot of balls early that could have made that game a lot closer in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Their third down conversions weren't very good in the first half.
No.
And Alabama's third down conversion, we converted on 70% of our third downs in the first half.
Yes.
They just couldn't get us off the field. And to turn that back on to Nick Saban, that's something that I'd like to commend Coach Saban for. So Bryce wasn't hurt to the point where he couldn't go back in, because he actually came back in the series after he hurt his shoulder.
Yes.
And the thing is, when that game got tight and it was 23-25, you've got the Heisman winner sitting on the sidelines, and then it's getting tight. And for Coach Saban to do what was right by that player and not do what's right for his team and to win, I think that says a lot to Coach Saban's character when he really does say that he cares about those kids, not just playing football for him, but after football.
Yeah. Now, I'll never say Nick Saban is not a class act, because I think he's a class act 100%. But I agree with you, Wes. He did what was right by Bryce.
You know what
and I wanted to touch on a series right there when they cut it to the what was it, 28-23 or 28-24, whatever it was. the very next series when Milrow took that 72-yard run.
Yep.
A game-changing play. With your Heisman quarterback sitting on the sideline, you leave your backup in, and he makes that play.
Mhm.
And then on the very next series, you got can't think of the
Jahmyr
running back.
Gibbs.
Yeah, Gibbs busting that long run. 2 plays that absolutely changed the
Yep.
flow of that game. I
Mhm.
was highly impressed with that.
Yeah, I think
I've
the
been trying to
third
tell
and
you guys, he's the fastest. Jalen Milrow is the fastest dude on our team, and he's built
Yeah.
like that. And Coach Saban said this past week that the offense, if Jalen Milrose plays, the offense will change. He'll look a little bit better because they'll start running plays that cater to the things that he does well, right?
Mhm.
And with Jahmyr Gibbs and Jalen Milrose back there, and if you look, Jahmyr Gibbs ripped off a 76-yard run.
Yes.
Jalen Milrose ripped off a 77-yard run. And then the very next drive after that, Jahmyr Gibbs had another 70-plus yard run for a touchdown as well. So we had 3 70-yard runs in the there in the fourth quarter to answer back and just pull away. I mean, it got tight. Like I said, emotion in front of your crowd. Arkansas is a good team. They're better than the 25th ranked team in America. They just happen to play 2 tough teams back to back. And that's just what it is. Like, you know, and Tennessee's about to get the same stretch. Tennessee's about to go where they're going to play Alabama. They're going to play Georgia. They're going to play Kentucky. That's going to be a tough stretch of football for Tennessee. And if Tennessee comes out of that stretch, Tennessee deserves a shot. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it is.
Well, I don't like any of you guys because I had to go to it. I don't like any of you guys because it looks like to me you guys got to watch college football yesterday. I didn't get to watch college football yesterday because freaking ESPN got dumped from what I use. So that sucked, man.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
it did. So I hate cigarette smoke, and so I ended up going to a cigar bar across town to have to watch the ball game, and I had to go, like, couldn't wait for halftime because I could go outside and I could breathe. And the game was over. I was like, well, guys, I'm out of here. Enjoy football. So that was literally the only game that I was able to watch yesterday was the Kentucky football game. And it
So
was
basically, you're saying that your cable provider treated you like the top 10 treated Kentucky. They don't.
pretty much. You could say that. Yeah, you could say that. But,
Well, if you'd like to switch cable providers or teams that you pull for,
yeah.
there are still in this call, there are still 2 teams on here that are rated in the top 10. Dustin and I'm sure we'll make room for you on our bandwagons if you'd like.
I tell you
Come on
what,
over.
Hey,
Come on.
You know what? I'll pretty much take a hard pass on that, guys. Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to tell on myself a little
Yeah.
bit. I believe I have the same provider that you have,
I have
But
Sling. Yeah.
but I never left the house and watched the entire Alabama game
How'd you watch it? Oh,
on YouTube. Somebody was streaming it on YouTube. I'm like, okay, I'm watching this.
I heard that, and I'm not sure why I didn't even do that as well too. I was like, maybe somebody's streaming it.
And if you guys ever need a login, I know we probably shouldn't share this on the internet, but just hit me on the side and I'll share that login for my ESPN. So
That's cool. So don't worry if Sling is not going to get it. Sling is not going to get the ESPN back. I'm dumping them because that's the only thing I need it for. I'm a Netflix guy, so that's it. So if they don't get it back, then I'm quitting them anyway. Yeah. So I had to throw that out there.
Typically what happens, ESPN will raise their rates a little bit, and then they'll go into a contract dispute because Sling and Dish don't want to raise their prices for their customers. It usually goes on for a week or 2, and then they reach some kind of settlement, and all will be champagne and roses after that.
Yeah. That didn't happen this time. I kept refreshing my screen, hoping it would go pop back on the screen. And I was going to be able to do it. So, let's see. Yesterday, of course, Ole Miss was able to beat Kentucky yesterday. Should have won that football game, man. Yeah, we should have. But
should you really have won the football game?
Let's
be honest.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You were
yes.
The first half. No. The first half.
Exactly.
You almost got boat raced. You
Okay.
almost got boat raced,
Yep.
and you fought back because
Yeah.
Ole Miss looked bad. But you want to go and say that you played better than Ole Miss in the second half, so
Yeah, we
you deserve
did.
to win. You
Yeah.
played worse than them in the first half, so you deserve to lose.
We did. Well, hey, you know what? We're gonna bounce back from that win. I'm from that loss. Believe me, we're not gonna lay down. We're gonna keep.
Of course,
going.
you're going to bounce back. You play in the SEC East. You
Yeah.
get a bounce back game with Missouri or Vandy or South Carolina. Half your division is trash.
So hey, now I just got to take up for my guys. We did play bye week yesterday.
Hey, I had
put
to
a
mute
run-
it. I had
Hey.
to mute him. Okay.
We put a running clock on them in the first quarter. It was already 56-0 before the first quarter ended. We ended up beating them 256-0, broke the all-time scoring record. Hey, I'm proud of my boys beating bye week.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's a very nice-
Actually, I on my screen when I refreshed, it said Vandy lost to BYE.
No, we beat them 256-0, man.
So LSU end up coming back and beating Auburn. Does Auburn's coach keep his coach?
So has anybody seen the reports that are coming out that Harsin may have like sabotaged his own team because he's trying to get bought out? There's several
So
articles that I read
Well,
that actually said he may have like actually dumped that on, because if you think about the play calls, they were down there, they're about to score and go up 21-0. And they run a trick play in the red zone where a wide receiver is throwing the ball and throws a pick. Like, who makes that play call in the SEC?
Nobody.
Especially
did
with
the-
Tank Bigsby on your team.
No.
he did that in the fourth quarter too at the end of the game where he ran the halfback. He handed it to the halfback and the halfback threw a pass and it got picked off in a situation where a score wins the game.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, they tried to lose that game. They put the ball on the ground 6 times. They lost 4 of them.
it's Auburn. I could care less about Auburn.
Well, hey, does it surprise you that he would do that? Is that surprising, or do you? I mean, does it sound like it could be like a legitimate story that's what he wanted? Considered.
To be
Auburn-
honest with you, the things that
Yeah.
I've heard now, if you look at what's going on in college football, I don't know if you guys read the story about Herm Edwards and Arizona State leaking
Okay.
information to their opponents to get him fired.
Really?
I don't know. I wouldn't doubt that something like that would happen. You know, I mean, and with that much money on the line, you know, human character is not the greatest in it right now.
Yeah.
So I think the guy's in over his head to begin with. Boise State, this ain't the Mountain West, man. Just take the money and go back home.
Yeah,
His
that's
dad's
true.
And
calling in
especially-
to radio shows protecting him. Come on, man. Just get out of here.
Right.
And what was it, the spring that there was so much hubbub down there? And he was almost, do we fire him? Do we keep him? It's hard to believe that a guy, I would be tempted to say, yeah, I'm going to try to get fired so I can get all these millions of dollars because these guys don't want me here. I'm gone after this year anyway, maybe. So let me go ahead and take my lumps. Yeah. People in sports, there's no telling what they will do.
That's a
I
lot of
hate to
money.
be that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
That's a lot of money that they're talking about, that I can just get this money and walk away, and all this pressure is just completely here today and gone tomorrow. But I got millions of dollars just for walking away.
And,
Yeah.
and I've mentioned it. College football it's not about what you can do, it's about who you know. A lot of people get jobs based on connections rather than ability. Carl Durrell is a perfect example of that. He was fired today at Colorado. The only reason he was ever an offensive coordinator in the SEC was because he was friends with the head coach. So would it surprise me that Brian Harsin tried to get fired? No, you take the millions, you go hook up with another connection and go about your business.
Yep.
So what about the blowout yesterday for Mississippi State over Texas A&M? Is that a fluke?
No.
No.
Are they that bad?
I saw one highlight yesterday. Texas A&M was fixing to score. Max Johnson throws a pass into the end zone. And wide receiver standing there all by himself. Nobody within 5 or 10 yards of him. And the dude whiffs the catch. Absolutely whiffed it. That's a bad football team. I can't see.
Mhm.
That's not a fluke.
Well,
No.
what
I bet
about
the folks down, I bet the folks down there at A&M are regretting that $93 million mistake, don't you?
well? So that brings me to my question. then.
Whole lot of money.
So that brings me to the question:
What's that?
Is he on the hot seat?
No, I don't believe he's on the hot seat this year simply because his buyout is so big. I don't believe that Texas A&M. I don't believe that they want to spend out that kind of money. But you watch and see though. Next year he's supposed to have the #1 class coming in. I mean, which I understand this year was supposed to be a #1 class as well. You really see what's happening. They're really not winning a whole lot of ball games. Potentially, though, next year, if they don't make any kind of changes to their personnel, or they need to get an offensive coordinator. I don't really know who's on the market right now, but they need to get an offensive coordinator to be able to get them to score some points, because this is one of the lowest scoring Texas A&M teams I've ever seen since they've joined the SEC.
Yeah, these guys are not.
Carl
scoring a lot of
Durrell's
points
supposed
right
Carl Durrell's supposed to have this massive offensive mind. He's available.
now. Trust me, he probably knows somebody that he can call and get it.
I mean, Texas A&M, they got all that oil money, but they're not spending it very wisely. I mean, that's what it looks to me like.
A&M's never been very smart, even the Southwest Conference. They're not that bright.
He's not there. Right.
All their Yale leaders, they want to act like everybody else is dumb, but they're the ones out there dancing looking goofy with their little. Well, I'm not going to say because it wouldn't be very nice, but
Yeah.
I'll just say they're goofy, and they've not really won any major ball games. I'll just put it to you that way.
No, they're terrible.
So I assume that they're no threat to Alabama. Y'all play them next week, right, Wes?
Oh yeah, they're gonna pay. They're gonna pay next week for all those comments they had in the offseason. Our players have already let them know. Our players don't talk a whole lot before games.
Yeah.
We act like we've been there before.
There you go.
We didn't pull. I don't know if anybody did. Anybody watch the Georgia-Missouri game last night?
I watched the majority of it. I watched a good bit of it.
Did anybody see what Georgia pulled before the game?
No.
So Georgia's player that actually got hurt last night, Lorenzo Carter.
Yeah.
In the pregame warmups, Missouri was warming up in the end zone, just doing stretching, running some drills, non-pad warmups. Several of the Georgia players walked through the middle of their warmups. And it almost came to blows. I mean, it was just pregame there, guys jawing at each other. But they acted like, I mean, the #1 team in America shouldn't act like that, especially against Missouri.
Yeah.
Considering
exactly.
all you guys said Missouri was the worst team in the SEC, Vandy. And then they struggled the whole game. It's unlike Alabama to talk, but Will Anderson actually had something to say, and a couple of guys, Henry To'oTo'o, actually came out in SEC media days and made it known that they had their coaches back and they would let their talking be done on the field.
And I think any coach for any team would definitely make sure that the kids make sure that we don't have to worry about this. And one thing that you mentioned that I love is act like you've been there before. You know what I'm saying? You're #1 team in the nation. You don't have to walk through, Missouri's warm up, walk around.
Not anymore.
I was about to say, don't worry. Things are, just to let you know, things are right in the world because Alabama's back.
Yeah.
And the Atlanta Braves, no matter what happens today, we're leaving Atlanta in first place. We are racing a 10.5 game deficit to the stinking Mets, and we're leaving Atlanta no matter win or lose, and we're still in first place.
When
wait a minute, I gotta hear Wes say thank you to the Vandy boys that have made that possible.
Okay, well, you know what? I will say that here's the deal. Kyle Wright probably should win the National League Cy Young because he's the only 20 game winner in the MLB. Max Fried is a stud, left-handed stud. And when it counts, he's been struggling the last month and a half, but when it counts, Dansby Swanson, the #1 overall pick, who's from Marietta, Georgia, right here where I live, who played shortstop at Vanderbilt in the SEC, has come on. He's gone yard in back-to-back games against Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer, as well as another hometown boy right here, Matt Olson, who plays first base. So that's your Sideline Braves report, brought to you by Arkansas's ass whooping.
Hey,
Hey,
hey, when does the wild
speaking of
card
that-
game start?
Hey, Wes, two out of three, man. We held y'all to under 220 yards passing, and we threw a passing touchdown against y'all.
Mike,
That's
what's
2
the
out of
final-
3.
what was the
And
final
then
score of that ball game?
and then what's your boy Tamatoa, or whatever his name is, the crab from Moana? You know, he on third down, y'all stop us. and he
Man,
takes
don't
a
even talk about it.
a 10-yard run and pushes one of our offensive linemen, gets the flag. We go down to score, which starts that third quarter. He almost cost y'all the game. That guy's
No,
terrible.
no,
That guy's terrible.
The Toa penalty. It extended the drive that you got the field goal on to go to 26. You were already down by 12.
Mhm.
So you got your last field goal on that drive.
He's boneheaded, dude. You don't make that mistake in a game.
I understand that, but he also leads our team. You know what? He's probably boneheaded because he came from Tennessee.
Shot fired.
It's okay. We'll let our electric offense speak in a couple of weeks whenever they play against those weak ass defensive backs at Bama. So it's okay.
Yeah, one passing touchdown all season. I can handle that.
Hey,
I imagine there'll be more.
but
yeah.
yet, Bama has not played an offense like Tennessee's yet. So it's going to be a hell of a game, and you know it.
Tennessee
know
hadn't
what?
played Tennessee hadn't played a
And-
defense like ours yet either.
Well, hang on. Hey, what I saw from LSU last night has me even less worried about what's going to go down in Death Valley this coming Saturday, 12
But I
o'clock.
last week, I did get it wrong because I picked them to outright win. But did I or did I not tell everybody in the call last week, as bad as Auburn looked the week before, in that game, every year something weird happens.
Mhm.
6 turnovers, everything. Auburn was winning 14-0. Whoever the home team is in the Battle of the Tigers every year, like I'm telling you, just like it's just a weird game, guys. Like that's what happens, like in the Battle of the Tigers every year.
So I'm like I said, I'm really excited. I'm really excited that it's a 12 o'clock game instead of a night game. So I'm tickled to death about that. I don't know who set that up, but
Mhm.
I'm so happy that they did. I mean, it's not going to be as crazy. You know, obviously it's Death Valley, right? It's always going to be crazy, but we're not giving them enough time to drink enough to be able to get extra loud.
Well, let me- hey,
that's actually go
our-
ahead.
Our Sunday school teacher and old athletic director is Steve Roberts, who used to be the coach at Arkansas State. He said the only time in his career that he's been flipped off by a 2-year-old was down in Baton Rouge.
I believe that.
So
So,
I got-
so let me tell you something. This is a misconception. Everyone actually, because the crowd is more riled up, right? But the thing is, LSU's win percentage is actually lower at night than it is in day games.
that's
So
interesting.
the last time that Tennessee did beat LSU was actually at night. That's the last time. Right now they have a 5-game win streak on us. So I'm hoping that we can get this streak over with. But
It'd be over.
their defense, I mean, they don't have a bad defense. So I'm a little bit nervous about that. I mean, if we're being real, we're being honest. I'm a little bit nervous about that. But I think that as long as, because their quarterback is a lot like is a lot like Anthony Richardson. He's kind of a dual threat quarterback. I feel if we can contain him, I feel
He
that
got hurt though. He had to come out. He got hurt, so they haven't explained the extent of his injury. He didn't finish the game.
I was gonna ask about that
yeah,
because he only had 80
only-
yards, so I was curious.
The
on why.
only thing I saw was that he did come back. They took him to the hospital and then they released him, and he did return to the game under the care of medical doctors on the sideline. So
Okay.
that's potentially good news for them.
Okay.
It looked a lot like Tua's injury with his hip when Tua got hurt against Mississippi State in college.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Dustin, I don't know how much credence you guys put into this, but I don't know if you guys if you look from week to week at the FBI power rankings. Do you guys look at those?
Sometimes,
We-
yes.
We have.
Okay. So the FPI actually has LSU ahead of Tennessee and Ole Miss. So how do you feel about that?
I think that's inaccurate. I think Tennessee is a much better ball team. I mean, if I'm being honest, I mean, yeah, our defense isn't the greatest, but our offense is, well, I mean, if I'm being honest, it's the best in the country. It is. It's above Ohio State. It's above Alabama. It's above Georgia. So that's what's keeping us in these ball games is yeah, we may be giving up 500 yards, to Florida, but we're still able to outscore them. We're still,
So the question is,
we're
what
our. Go ahead.
what are you basing that statement that your offense is better than ours in Ohio State's?
Facts. What do you mean?
Which facts? So you're
Stats don't lie, bro. Stats don't lie. We have more okay. As of yesterday, it's a different, obviously now I'm sure that they have a little bit more, but up until this point, because where we had a bye week, up until this point, we had more passing yards. We had more touchdowns. I mean, yeah, we only had more touchdowns now than Alabama. Of course, now it's, now you guys are ahead because we had a bye week, but I was just going by facts. I was going by stats. Yes, we did have the number one offense coming into yesterday. Now I know, we have to kind of look at the bye as maybe kind of skewed information, but we're going to see though what's going to happen next week against LSU. And if I believe that if we can get past LSU, then I'm sorry, but a 6-0 Bama and a 6-0 Tennessee, that's going to be freaking wild. And I could almost see, I mean, I doubt it, but I could see College Game Day possibly looking to come back to Neyland for that game. Like I said, I
don't doubt they would. They've been to Alabama more than once, like in a season. And you possibly, if that happens, barring an upset, like if there is an upset next week, we could be talking about the number one and possibly a top 5 team, like the 1-5 team at 6-0. Now, just to give you a heads up, Alabama's offense actually ranks ahead of yours in offensive efficiency and game control. So if those stats matter. I mean, some bogus yards that you got against Ball State,
Hey,
So
you
guys
want to talk about ball control and stuff, dude. It only takes us a minute and a half to score a touchdown. What more do you want from us? We're a fast moving offense. We can't help that.
Maybe
It takes
Maybe,
Bama about
there are
15 seconds.
there are 3 facets to the game, guys: special teams, defense,
You are
offense.
correct.
I mean, so 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, but your
So-
special teams showed up yesterday, Wes. I'm sorry, brother.
Chris, what do you have?
So
Hey, guys,
they-
I got to go. I will talk to you all later.
Okay, all right. Hey, thanks, Dustin, for dropping in.
Hey,
Hey,
go
man.
Balls!
Okay.
So one of the topics mentioned so far has been game day and possibly going to Knoxville for Alabama and Tennessee. I just wanted to get Wes's thoughts on ESPN announcing that they're going to go to Lawrence, Kansas for unbeaten Kansas versus unbeaten TCU, instead of following this sideline noise between Fisher and Saban that happened during the summer and the profile of what that game could entail.
No, College Game Day doesn't deserve to be in Tuscaloosa. Like, first off, have you watched A&M play?
Yeah,
First off, A&M deserves to have another loss because Arkansas actually should have won that game. The
Right.
the oink
Right.
doink, right? So,
Easy. Oh, no.
you know, if Bacon Bits over there could get their stuff together, like, you know, they'd still be ranked in the top 15. But let's be honest, like A&M doesn't deserve. The only reason they are what they are is because they have money and they're in the SEC. Okay. Jimbo Fisher has $100 million contract. We got 100,000 fans. We're in the SEC. Let's go back 10 years, put them back in the Big 12. And guess what? Nobody's talking about them.
No.
Right.
We stamped our logo on them and it gave them credence.
I kind of
They're-
agree with that.
They're dumb.
I kind of like the decision.
didn't we have all week? Didn't we have this in our side chat? You need to work on your smack talk. That is not good. They dumb.
They are dumb. They are. I mean, look, they throw all this money. They have more money than intelligence. What have they got to show for all the money they have spent on their coach and their players? Nothing.
Not a lot to show for it.
Right.
No.
Well, so here's the deal. Does part of that have to do with the fact that, and this it no shot at the other two guys on this call, because now I feel like it's equal because we got 2 West and 2 East guys. Well, we have 2 football teams and then you guys. So, but the thing is, let's flip that. Let's take Kentucky and put them in the West and put A&M in the East. Is A&M still an 8-4 team? No, they're probably 10-2, and they may have been to Atlanta already. Now, Kentucky, no offense, and I'm not being mean here, I'm being realistic.
Yeah.
Because I can step back and do that. But Kentucky, if you had to go on a 3-week stretch where you went to Arkansas, Alabama, and then you went to Baton Rouge, or how many of those do you win even with this year's team, Michael?
Maybe just one.
Yeah. So, and then now you're looking at 10-2 if you don't drop anything else.
Yeah.
And if you're cross division, let's just say your cross division keep is Tennessee. You
That's
probably
right.
lose to Tennessee.
Yeah, those
So now
guys.
you're looking at 9-3. And if
Yeah,
you drop one you're not supposed to drop, you're 8-4. And guess what? You just turned into Texas A&M.
That's it, huh? That's it.
No,
That
but
easy.
you
and
can
I
go ahead
have-
and pencil in 3 wins a year because you get Missouri. Don't take this as offense, but you get Vandy and you get South Carolina, and
North Carolina.
you're going to fight with South Carolina.
Yeah, probably so. Well, we at home, so hopefully we're gonna be upset about
So that's what I'm saying.
about losing. But yeah,
Being in the West, it's not fair, and it is
No.
not fair to rank Arkansas 25th. Now, you should have beat Texas A&M.
A&M. Yeah.
You should have beat them. You're up 14-0. You got outcoached in the second half.
Yep.
Like, you went away from your strengths.
No, I agree.
But to penalize them for playing an angry Alabama team who's heard for 4 weeks now that Georgia's the best team in America, that they're not as good because they struggled at Texas, that they've taken a step back. We lost in the national championship game to a Georgia team who had more players drafted than any other team in the history of college football.
that was a
That's what
draft-heavy
it takes
team.
to beat us, guys. Think about what it takes to beat us. Clemson in 2018, they had dudes come back. Like who, by the way, the game day picker yesterday, Cleveland Farrell. Cleveland Farrell came back his senior year and passed on a first-round grade because Alabama pushed them around in 17 in the playoffs. They had 4 first-day draft picks come back. That's what it takes to beat us. Georgia, it took everything. It took a historic team to beat us. Johnny Manziel beat us. He won the Heisman. Cam Newton beat us. He won the Heisman. Like, that's what it takes to beat Alabama, guys. The Stars have to Bo Nix beat us. I mean, yeah. And it took some bogus, like, false start penalty. The kick 6, which, by the way, to your topic, which is an awesome topic, I think we should do that.
Yeah.
The craziest thing I've ever seen in college sports is the kick 6.
Yeah,
And which was preceded the week before by the prayer at Jordan Hare. That team had a batted ball on 4th and 16 against Georgia
Mhm.
to come back from 24 points. Then the next week, what do? They run a missed field goal, which, by the way, the refs had to give us a second back to kick the field goal.
Right.
I've never seen anything like that.
Hmm.
What about you, Chris? What's the craziest thing you've ever seen?
The craziest thing I've ever seen. I'm going to date myself a little bit here, but I've got two things. Stanford Cal and the marching
Mhm.
band
Okay.
is got to be the most bizarre thing ever. And then Vinny Testaverde at what 6'5", maybe 230, running 140 yards to gain 20. He zigzagged all the way across the field 2 times to get a 20-yard gain. Wildest thing I've ever seen.
Mhm.
Definitely a call.
Actually, you know what, Mike? I will tell you, I am thankful, and one of my favorite players, and he played for my favorite NFL team, for Alex Collins.
Yeah.
It might be the second craziest thing I've ever seen in college football. You know what I'm about to say?
The Hunter Heave.
The Hunter Heave. And by the way, you want to talk about a tight end that was a monster. The Hunter Heave. And the reason that's awesome to an Alabama fan, if you guys don't win that game, we don't go to Atlanta and win the national championship that year.
Well, I'm in
Is that-
Oxford that weekend. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law are graduates, and we go down there about once a year or so. I wasn't at the game. I was at their house. My sister-in-law, that whole game, run, go, go, go. And then Hunter catches that ball, and I hear her start yelling. And then he throws it back, and then it goes dead quiet in the house. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to call the Hogs. And my wife said, don't do that. I said, fine, I won't call the Hogs, but hell yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a heck of a play. Heck
That's
of a play.
crazy, man. I tell you, man, college football is always good for us, man.
What's your crazy play, Michael?
Wow, man.
I'm sorry, Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead.
I
Mike.
just say that the Stanford Cal. And then I know this isn't necessarily a crazy play, but when Bo Nix threw the ball behind him, we recovered the ball and should have won the game. And they said, no, it's an incomplete pass. No, he threw it behind him.
Dude,
I couldn't believe it.
oh my God. I was watching the game with my wife. And the thing is, before the announcers even said anything, I'm yelling at the TV. I'm like, that's a fumble. It's backwards. That's a fumble.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? And I rewound it. Even my wife, to give my wife credit, my wife knows as much about football. She probably could be on this call and
Yeah.
knows more about football than some of the guys that are on this call.
Yeah.
But she's like, oh my God, it is a fumble. Like, you can't do that. And I'm like losing my mind. That one I was about to flip a table over because
I couldn't believe it.
I've got there's a small part of me inside, like when me and Mike were talking smack all week back and
Yeah.
forth. There's a small part of me. I like Arkansas. I've always liked Arkansas. In the 90s, when you guys came to the conference, we always played football similar. Like, we had big offensive lines. We just like to beat on people. We just want to run the football, play defense. You had some of my favorite Run DMC, dude, to finish second in the Heisman back-to-back years. Like, how crazy is that? Like,
Yeah.
Right.
That's crazy.
So,
What about that,
you, Mike Spencer? What's your craziest thing you've ever seen?
What about that? With Doug Flutie, I think when he was
Yes.
just the whole that pass, and now today, I mean, you still see it even when people are making videos of crazy things on football. They always seem to throw that in there in some way just to see that pass, and just for him his size and everything, and just the career he ended up having. I think that was a pretty amazing play right there. And I can't forget about the Miracle in Tennessee, or what they call it, Miracle. What is it? The Miracle for the Titans when they went to the Super Bowl. When they
Oh, yeah.
Oh, come on,
Yeah.
the Music City Miracle.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're talking about, hey, the Bills are one of my teams. Like, that broke my heart. Well, hey, you know what? So, Mike, what about the Bluegrass Miracle? Does anybody remember that one?
Is that where LSU had them down
Oh,
so
yeah.
big and they came back? To win?
Yes.
Yes.
No. LSU came back,
Yes.
and your players
was-
were running on the field.
I think that was 7 overtimes. when they
No,
went
no,
to
no, no.
that wasn't the
talking
one,
about
huh?
I'm talking about the game where Allie Landry ran under the ball that got tipped.
Yes.
The Kentucky players were on the field. They had doused Hal Mummy already. It was Nick Saban coaching that game, and LSU's quarterback looked at one of the Kentucky fans as he went by him like, "What are you looking at?
Yo,
Our guy just ran under the ball."
yeah, that's that's one
So-
of them things that but that's when Kentucky football wasn't all that great.
So Dustin has jumped off the call. Another one of my crazy ones. Vanderbilt had a kid
Hmm.
starting at quarterback
Yeah.
as a redshirt freshman, Patton Robinette, that grew up in Maryville, Tennessee, in the shadows of Neyland Stadium, won 4 state titles as a high school quarterback, and did not get recruited by Tennessee. It's the end of the game, 4th down, and he goes fake jump pass and rolls out to his right to score a touchdown to beat Tennessee in Knoxville. One of my favorite
Mhm.
all-time plays. Fake
That's-
jump pass.
That's something that he will remember the rest of his life. Just
Oh
because
yeah,
of that.
and especially because Tennessee didn't recruit the kid, and he's right there underneath their own stadium.
That is crazy, man. That is it, man.
Hmm.
Well, guys, I think we had a good show today, man. We had some fun, laugh. Wes is, you the villain, whatever, Alabama. you need Wes, you need more mutes.
I mean, if
Yes.
y'all want to talk about football some more, I can get muted some more because I'd let you know why we're better than everybody.
you know,
The king is here.
yeah, he is. It is what it is. But hey, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Second to None. Man, this has been a great show, great laughs as always. And we'll be back next week with the same thing. We're Second to None. We're out. Thank you.
Yep.
James Madison says, "Come to Harrisonburg."
Hey, by the way, are we going to break so we can see Aaron Judge hit the ball?
No. Oh my God. We'll talk about that in just a second.